What I'm going to introduce to you today is called the theory of mind. The theory of mind is a quick and useful tool to briefly explain essentially how hypnosis works. Imagine that this circle is your mind. When we're born with what we call the primitive mind. The primitive mind contains our basic functions in life, also known as the fight response and the flight response. The fight response is what cavemen would use to hunt, to feed, and to protect its community. In modern day, the fight response is what we tend to use to compete. The flight response is what we would use to run and look for shelter in order to protect ourselves and stay alive. In modern day, the flight response is what we tend to use to create separation, loneliness, and is best linked to depression. Lately, research shows that there's also a freeze response in which we tend to just lock up like a deer in headlights. From the ages of 0 to 8, everything in our lives that we experience, we store in our brains, and from them create what we call known associations. Everything from eating ice cream to eating black licorice, from being hugged to being punched in the arm, losing, winning, all those associations are stored in what we call our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind makes up about 88% of our brain space. From the ages of 8 to 13, we establish what we call our critical mind, or as I like to call it, our Jiminy Cricket. If you haven't seen Pinocchio, Jiminy Cricket is essentially Pinocchio's inner voice that tells him what is right and what is wrong. So it's safe to say that our critical mind is constantly searching through our immediate thoughts and our known associations and tells our conscious mind whether or not what we're choosing to do is good or bad for us based on our values, our morals, and our beliefs. Up here is where we attempt to use logic, we analyze, we rationalize, and we make decisions, or as I like to call it, here's our lard, or the fat of the brain. This is our conscious mind, and it's where we constantly work from throughout the day. Our conscious mind makes up about 12% of our brain space. What happens when an individual makes a decision is that a thought is created from the conscious mind, and while the lard is in action, the critical mind then engages with the subconscious to see if the new want or new need falls in line with our already established known associations. So if an individual was bitten by a dog as a child and has lived throughout life with the fear of dogs, but wants to get over that fear because they're now dating their soulmate, who happens to have a dog, as much as that person has tried to get over their fear of dogs, what happens is that the conscious mind says, I can live with this dog, and the subconscious mind says, hey, remember when Mr. Johnson's dog bit you and ripped your pants and everyone at school laughed at you? Then that thought of, I can live with this dog, is then kicked out and the subconscious mind says, maybe next time, buddy. So this person then comes in for hypnotherapy, and at some point throughout the session, we create a state of confusion by activating the fight, flight, and freeze responses, allowing the critical mind to just open up, kind of like a puppy on its back asking for a belly rub. Because the past has already happened, the old associations are still there in the mind, but now since it's open for new suggestions, we are able to create new associations that are stronger and more powerful than the limiting known associations. An association like, I've been around plenty of dogs and haven't been bitten before, or my neighbor has this really cute dog that I babysit once in a while that I really like. Creating new, stronger, and more relevant known associations facilitate a new mental approach on what was once an issue.